So, what are we talking about today?
You need an intro. See?
I'm trying to get there.
Intros. We're talking about goal setting.
Are we?
Yeah.
I need smacked in the face. Well, there you go. Welcome to How Stupid People Succeed. I'm Josh. This is Jeremy. This is How Stupid People, me and Jeremy. Oh man, we're done.
Amanda
but sometimes we just figure stuff out. Jeremy.
Goal setting 2.0.
2.0.
So we talked about goal setting, but there's a whole lot more to talk about with goal setting. And it's a pretty important part of how we try to navigate even our day-to-day life, how we try to navigate things that we want or things that we're working toward, business, personally, family, any of that stuff. So, even goal setting in the structure of for this year, what goals do I have for my family and how do we accomplish those goals? And I think working towards goals and having the desire to do that, I think helps breed and pour over and spill over into a lot of other areas. So wherever you can find a goal and accomplish that goal, go for it. Whether it's, cleaning up a messy room or getting healthier on some level or a family thing or a business thing, wherever you can find success in that goal, find it. So for you, when you look at a goal, because most people, they get hit with a goal or they have an idea and they'll talk about that goal, but sometimes you'll hear people talk about a goal and then you almost hear them not really talking about the goal. So when you are trying to accomplish something, how do you try to vet the emotion of where that is coming from? Is this coming from a place of genuine desire to accomplish something, genuine desire to get better at something, or is this coming from a place of, insecurity or doubt or, how do you work through understanding the emotions of the goals that you're creating?
If you have a goal, you need to understand the why and the rationale of having that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not meaningful, those goals really don't truly matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So understanding that why and being able to dissect that a little bit is critically important to the success of that goal. Because if I don't have a why that I can tie to it or I can anchor to that why, the goal really becomes irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Besides that, that's so as I continue to work on developing goals, working through goals, the stages of the progress of the goals, I need to continually remind myself of the why. So why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Is it to, better my financial situation? Is it for the betterment of my kids? Is it for, the better of my personal fitness? The betterment of friends?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, if I don't hang on and remind myself of those goals or even have it visual.
Yeah.
I love, I was talking to our administrative assistant yesterday or the day before. And so we're kind of in the transition for our business of kind of making everything more organized, more structured,
mm-hmm.
so it's more efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything we've been doing is all digital.
Okay.
And she made the point of, we're putting all this stuff digital, but still like my main point of reference is on a whiteboard in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at that whiteboard and I kind of know where I am in the process of all the deals that I'm in. But then again, we're all digital.
Yeah.
So being able to even like some of those things, so like our goal is to be more structured and more organized. Why? Because it's going to make for a better experience for our customers. It's it's going to make everything more seamless. But then again, I want to hold on to something that I like, which is a whiteboard, and but having that stuff up and visual is really important to me.
Yeah.
Because it helps remind me of the goal.
Right.
So it's family X transitioning to this property on this date.
Yeah.
And, so like having that up in visual is huge. But also, the goal of getting them to point A to point B obviously is the reason why I do it.
I think it's definitely a great litmus of, are you getting closer to your goal or are you serious about your goal, or is the why strong enough because you're going to make it visual.
Yeah.
I think making a goal visual is a great, easy, personal first step anybody can take. So if there's a goal, first try to understand the emotion of why is that goal significant to me? Why is that goal important to me? I've heard a lot of people, and especially in real estate, you kind of get people that are salesy or people that are, kind of putting on the dog and pony show or whatever. And they're going to tell you, maybe in a training session or what it may be, they're going to tell you what sounds good. But then you watch their actions, or you watch how they navigate a goal that they had. And I've been in those conversations where you hear somebody communicate something and I don't try to feel this way towards somebody that is maybe just lying to themselves or maybe just trying to say something that sounds good. But it's like, dude, you don't even believe what you're saying. You're just saying something to sound good. Your actions certainly don't line up that you're seriously willing to commit to hit that goal. And so in that setting, I think it's brilliant to identify what your goals are, but then try to step back and go, okay, where's the emotion of this goal coming from? Why is this hitting me as something significant? Because I don't think unless you understand that why and the emotion of the goal, that ever becomes real. And I also think there's a lot of people that maybe hit a goal 3 degrees to the left because they didn't understand the why and the emotion. And then they hit the goal, but then they don't feel satisfied. Where if they really try to filter that, they would have adjusted that goal just a little bit, maybe tweaked, the intent or the ending place or whatever it may be. They can have more satisfaction in it. And then again, make it visual. Find a way to make that goal visual, whether it's in Evernote, whether it's a picture on, your mirror, whether it's on a whiteboard, whatever it is, make that goal visual because it does act as a constant accountability, especially if it's a public goal that you're comfortable to share with other people. It then holds you to the accountability of everybody else around you, which I think is incredibly helpful. So when you're navigating goals and you're saying something very generic as in, we need to get more organized because it's going to improve the customer experience, that's a very vague goal. So how do you know when you're there? So when you have a goal of a general direction that's vague, how do you then break it down and try to understand it so it's a step-by-step approach of real applicable things that people can do to move closer?
So let me ask you this. What's the difference between a goal that's not real finite as opposed to a finite goal? Because obviously that is being, creating a better customer experience is, it's not, it's always going to be evolving. It's always going to be developing. So hitting that goal is not really possible per se. It's, it's always evolving. It's always changing.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
I think there's a lot of things you can put measures to that if you're honest with yourself, you can really understand. So how do you know the customer's having a better experience?
They tell me.
Right. So how do you collect that information? And what questions do you ask to collect that information? So if you create that uniform process, now you have measurables to say, are we getting better in these categories? So we want to be organized for the benefit of a better customer experience. What is the customer experience that my brand wants to be known for?
But better is also very
it's incredibly
ambiguous.
Vague. Yeah, it's very ambiguous. So you have to create a starting point. I think that's why weight becomes really easy. I weigh this amount and I want to weigh this amount. I know where I'm starting and I know where the goal is. So when you look at something that's incredibly vague, you have to create some foundational starting element. What is that baseline? What is going to be that standard, right? So you think about a standard, it's a universal form of measurement. So what is that? And if we don't have that in our business, if we don't have that towards our goal, do we really understand what we're trying to accomplish? So if I don't understand kilograms, somebody communicating goals to me in kilograms, because I am going to have to pick up my phone to actually compute it, it's kind of on deaf ears if it's just general conversation. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad, whatever. But if you're talking about pounds, and all of a sudden I have a frame of reference because I understand pounds a little bit more. I don't have to convert anything. Okay, I get it. I get the thresholds. Same thing in business. If you're saying better customer experience, how do you then create that universal standard of saying, here's how I'm going to start understanding this goal? Or maybe sometimes the goal is just a consistent behavior. So do customers have a better experience 3 days after closing if you call them and follow up on how they're doing versus not calling them ever again.
Sure, absolutely.
So that's something that you can say, listen, here's our competitive advantage of how we offer a better customer experience. And you can look at an industry standard, again, a universal measurement or universal practice, and you can say, here's how we're going to one up it. So we don't really have to, the only real measure is, did you make the phone call? 100% of the time, we make the phone call 3 days after closing, touch base with the customer, asking them for a review, checking in on their experience, asking them for feedback, right? So then we collect that data, and now it begins giving us a benchmark because we know we're better than average because we're doing something additional that's a consistent point of character, but then we're also collecting a standard that allows us to create a measurable. I think a lot of people get frustrated in their goals because they don't have enough drivers or measurables they can step back and look at what they can really do to dramatically increase their success. But also on the flip side, the consistent character application of getting better at something is enormous. So we go to a gym that we don't have to program the workout. So my only responsibility is just be consistent and going. And the rest will kind of take care of itself, right? I'm supported in that. So I don't really obsess over in 6 months, I want to be here. I just know if I keep showing up and I keep having consistency in showing up, I will keep growing this track record of, successes and growth and different things that I've been able to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's not, we grew by 30%. Sometimes it's just, here's what we know the standard is. Here's our +1 of the standard. And that lets us know we're hitting that goal every time, which I also think goals should be celebrated, right? So knowing here's a point where we're going to celebrate the goal. Why are you looking at me like that?
Nothing.
Here's a point at which we're going to celebrate the goal. And then it can create team motivation. So when you say, hey, let's get organized, let's get better, what motivation then do you try to create when the goal means more than just you?
I think it's knowing the team and knowing their goals and their motivations, doing those things. Mm-hmm. Because, something that's motivating for you is not necessarily going to be motivating for me.
Yeah.
So as the team leader, obviously I have different goals, different motivations. It's just like being a dad. You need to tap into what your kids are passionate about and what their goals are, what motivates them, and being able to use that to kind of help them reach their potential.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of stuff we've talked about today already, even on this short little podcast. I'm gonna have to go back and take some notes on.
Yeah. Well, I love goal setting, and I think it's something that is it's a microcosm of a universe, and it can be expansive. I also think just like, you have a galaxy, so you have this big picture. I want to be organized, big picture. I also think a lot of success in life can come when you're able to look at the galaxy, but then also dwindle it down to the molecule, the individual protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up the atom. So what are the building blocks of this goal? I want to be healthier. Great goal. Pretty generic. What does that mean, right? Galaxy. Oh, look, they're healthier. They see that picture. But how small can you make the goal? So you say better customer experience. I say just make a phone call 3 days after the closing.
Yeah.
Better customer experience is huge, this big galaxy, and sometimes it's overwhelming for a lot of people. But if you say just make a phone call 3 days after closing, just have a general conversation with them, now all of a sudden it's a molecule. It's small. It's easy. It's accomplishable. Hey, we had 5 closing last month. Do we call them? No. Call them now. Okay. Boom. You're successful. Yeah. You've done it. You've hit the goal, right? But it's so small. It's easy. It's accomplishable. You can be in control of it, which I also think is another big thing. Goals should not be based on other people's decisions. Goals should be based on what you can control within your universe, which I also think is a huge part of the frustration and goal setting that people miss, is they give too many people access to control their goal.
Yeah.
So I am going to take control of my goal, and it's going to be something I can do. So for example, like a lot of coaching we've done, somebody wants to change careers, right? We've coached people through this. I want to change career. Okay, great. That's the galaxy. What's the first step in the goal? How do you know you're going to be successful? Well, I need to get hired for another job. Well, hold on. You can't control the decision of getting hired for another job. You can control the decision of how many jobs you apply for within a week.
Yeah.
Nobody can stop you from doing that. You can go online right now and you can apply for as many jobs as you want. So when we coach people through that, it's saying, don't tell me you want to get hired. Tell me how much time you're going to spend editing your resume. Tell me how many people you're going to apply to in the next week. And let that be the driving force to get you to your goal, because you can't control somebody else making that decision on your goal.
That's good. So how are you doing on your goals for 2020?
Honestly, I'm doing excellent. Like, probably
Shocking.
No, I'm just being serious. What I want to do health wise has been there. What Brittany and I have decided to do with our family and schedule wise has been there. What I've wanted to do work wise has been there. So in the first 2 months of the year, the goals have been going extremely well, but it's also because I've had enough frustrating periods of my time that I feel like I haven't got to a certain point that I understand how to step back and dissect my own emotion to understand what am I really trying to accomplish. So for example, family frustration, not feeling like I'm being the dad I need to be. And I found that some very, very small tweaks that we just make regular in our family schedule and our family kind of function, it helps resolve the emotion of, am I being a good dad or not? So I can look at this, one little step and say, Tuesday night's family dinner night. And again, obviously we're going to do things as a family throughout the entire week. And so, but I know that if we hold true to that Tuesday night and we protect that, it allows me to step back and go, today was a really busy week, but at least I know there was that moment that we stopped as a family to focus on each other. Because I get lost too much in maybe the feeling or not doing a good inventory on where my time has gone or what I've done, because I don't really pay attention to it. But when I have that scripted or kind of scheduled, then I can go back and look and go, okay, this was a busy week. Didn't spend as much family time as we wanted to or we need to, so we need to make some of that up on a vacation or whatever. But at least I know Tuesday night was protected.
It's good. For me, business goals were right on par. We're actually pacing a little bit ahead of where we need to be. Good. Which is super good. And it's cool kind of going through the whole, I don't want to say shifting, but the organization of the business. Mm-hmm. Health wise, our whole family's been sick since the beginning of the year. So it hasn't really, so we haven't really been pacing where I want to be there. So I think right now, in January, I was at the gym 17 days, February, it'll hit 17 days as well. So, I'm pacing a little over 200 and I want to be about 225. So I need to really step that up and, really, really take care of myself there. And then, family, it's really, really in a great spot. So pacing good for the most part, but a little behind in the health area, but, working on that. But it's winter, it's fighting through winter. And
you guys got waxed.
We did.
You guys got waxed with some sickness and all that stuff.
Yes. And finally we're starting to kind of see, we're on the downhill, that little mountain we were fighting, but it was good.
You got the coronavirus. Brought it back.
I told you the story about that, didn't I?
Yeah.
When Amanda went to the doctor.
Yeah.
So, that was good.
She doesn't have the coronavirus.
She does not have the coronavirus.
God. She's not the first.
But she checked
Ohio
yes
case.
to all the boxes, and yet never got tested. So,
dude, we're taking a trip in the end of March, and I went on Amazon to look at the little. They're gone.
Really?
They're gone. I checked a month or so ago, and they were everywhere, and they were cheap. Now, if they are there, they're way more expensive than they even were, even on Amazon. Amazon, because I'm in Prime, so I click Prime, and the Prime options, there's I'm not joking, there's 4 to 6 Prime options for these things, and it's nuts, dude. It's crazy what's going on. So
you gonna wear them on the planes?
We had talked about it. But when I really did the research, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing.
Send me a picture.
When you wear
your whole family, all 4 of you.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, cool. Well, this is how stupid people succeed. Goal setting 2.0.
Come on.
I'm Josh. This is Jeremy. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, on
Apple Podcasts.
Subscribe to us. Listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.